And obviously, he took it all in on Friday. Good morning, Joss.
Joe, you just can't get rid of me, man. The excitement is just unbelievable. What an amazing victory, and this town is still on fire.
It really is. Joss, what'd you think of Friday? Give me, from your standpoint, what some of the highlights were.
Joe, I wasn't there because I was out of town on business, but I watched it on television, and it was a love fest. And I think the players felt it more than anyone, and I think the fans felt it just the same as in return. I mean, it was just a good feeling. In fact, I was talking to Danny Briere, the general manager of the Flyers, and he was saying how uplifting the parade and the celebration was to the Flyers organization. So that goes to show the positivity that this Eagle victory can mean to all the sports teams in the city. They know what it's like now to win the championship, and they want to be on that podium.
Well, I remember in '80, obviously the feeling took off in town, and John, you were a big believer 7 years ago. Now, I was not, John, but John, you were a big believer. If you might remember this, when the Eagles won, the Sixers and Flyers ripped off like 10 or 15 straight wins. You remember this, John, 7 years ago? And you kept saying that they were winning because of the feeling in the air. And I was saying, no, they're just winning because they got Joel and Ben Simmons. And
there's an electricity that I don't know, lifts all ships.
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know, Joe. Something tells me the Sixers and Flyers.
I'll go back a long way, back to '80, when the Eagles were in the Super Bowl. We lost. But the Phillies were in the World Series. They won. The Flyers were in the Stanley Cup Finals. They lost. All the teams in our city in that particular year, 1980, were in the championship game. Yes, only the Phillies won, but the town was electric. It's the only time, I believe, in sports history that all four teams were in the professional game.
That's correct. Championship game. That's exactly right.
I can't even imagine that.
Yeah, all four in the same. I mean, when you count the Eagles in January of '81.
Yeah.
Joe, let me get to a reality of Friday that really struck me, and I'm curious if you could be our psychologist. All right? Because sometimes we need Jaws, the psychologist, for the Philly sports fan. So one of my two favorite moments from Friday was Brandon Graham during his speech saying, all right, bring me my other trophy. And so he's got double-barrel trophy right in front of him. 17 Super Bowl trophy, 24 Super Bowl trophy. And two things struck me in that moment. One, it was the first time I'd seen the visual of two Eagles Super Bowl trophies right next to each other, and it was such a great moment. But two, so cool. But two was, it's going to be different now, Joss. Like the franchise that you played for and that we followed for so many decades, striving for the first and then trying to reach for the second, it's a different deal now. How do you think it will manifest in a different way, knowing that the Eagles now have two? And the Philadelphia sports fans now have two.
Well, I think it's a positive. For many, many years, the Philly sports fans were downtrodden. People made fun of the Philly sports fans. You guys never won anything.
Yeah.
The fact that now we are dominating professional football, and I've heard the word. In fact, I've used it myself a few times this past few weeks. Dynasty. There's no reason not to believe that this team could win more Super Bowls and get in a run. Hey, we know it's hard. We know how difficult it is. But when you look at this football team, and look at the age of the team and the talent on the team, there's no reason not to believe this can be a dynasty team. Now, right now we're still on that euphoric high that we've been on because of the win, but I feel that it can be a dynasty. And then I think all the other teams see the success of these teams, and they start to begin to feel the same way.
Jaws, how hard is it to say goodbye to Kellen Moore, and what are you hoping that we're looking for in our new offensive coordinator?
Well, I think first of all, I wish Kellen luck. He obviously done a great job here, and really kind of toning down the offense, being simplified and being unbelievably effective. So that part of it was great. Play calling was terrific. So I wish him well. But Howie and Jeffrey and Don Smolinski, the leaders of the Eagles organization, have always done a terrific job of reloading. They know what talent is out there. They've been doing a great job of getting talent. Yes, mistakes are made along the way. There's no doubt of that. But I think they'll find a replacement that'll fit right in. I don't know who it'll be. I have no inside information, but I believe they'll make the right choice. It seems when anyone leaves this Eagle organization, they seem to reload in a very positive manner.
I was surprised at Jalen Hurts' answer on a Kevin Patullo question, and I guess this was last week. It sort of got lost in the parade and stuff. But when Jalen was asked about Kevin Patullo's viability as a potential candidate for the offensive coordinator position, it didn't sound like Jalen was as, enthusiastic about that, or as into that? It sounded like he. It was a strange answer, and I don't know if we have that or not.
Get that impression. I just didn't. I think it was the right answer. It's not his decision. I'm sure behind closed doors they'll ask him and his feelings that, but ultimately, it's the front office making that decision. Howie and Jeff are going to make that decision. And I think they will make the right decision. And I sometimes. In the past, when they ask quarterbacks around the league, when someone gets fired, who do you want? And they always have an input. Well, I want this guy or that guy. I think they're dead wrong in making that assumption. It's not their decision. Your position is quarterback. Play quarterback. You don't make personnel decisions. Do your job, as Bill Belichick would like to say, and don't get involved in other areas where you can get yourself in trouble. So I think his answer was spot on.
How hard is it to lead a team in victory celebration? As the quarterback, you really are kind of the focal point of all of this. I just kept thinking during the parade, man, the eyes that you must feel as the quarterback, it's just so heightened. I've never had that experience, Jaws.
What? Hi, John. What? I wish I would have, and I wish I could have said I had that experience Jalen Hurts had, but not only Jalen, the quarterback obviously gets more attention than the other player, but every single player, those are memories that will last a lifetime for them, their families, to hoist the Vince Lombardi trophy, to get that ring in a few months. I mean, those are memories that last a lifetime. I can speak personally, 45 years removed from, Super Bowl 15. I still get goosebumps when I think about the players, the coaches, the organization at that time. It was a special feeling, and we lost in the Super Bowl. But,
sure.
It does bring people together.
Ron Jaworski with us right now, as he is every Tuesday at this time. Jaws, Howie had, an all-time off-season, and he's had a couple of them now. Let's talk about what's up ahead for him, because, this thing in about 3 weeks gets real with free agency. I'm going to give you 4 players, rank them in order of importance for the Eagles to retain, and they're the big 4. Becton, Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, and Zach Bond. How do you rank those 4, Sweat, Bond, Milton Williams, and Becton, for most important for the Eagles to keep?
I think Bond, number one. I think he's had obviously a phenomenal season. And historically, Howie's always been careful about, valuing linebackers too high. I've always said he didn't value them enough, but, it's worked out for him, and he's done a great job in that regard. But I think Bond, to me, just had an unbelievable season. He was, in my opinion, he was a defensive player of the year. That's how good he played in pass rushing, playing the run, and playing defense. So I would say you got to keep Bond, but that's going to be a hard decision to make.
So the irony, Joe, the irony is I think he's going to get the 3rd most money, because I think both Milton Williams and Sweat will get more because they're up front.
Becton might get more too.
Becton might. He might. Jaws, would you say Milton Williams is the 2nd most important to keep? I mean, what he did and what Sweat did in the Super Bowl was incredible. How would you size up those 2 guys next?
I agree with that. I think Milton Williams goes in there at the number 2 spot. Becton, he's going to go out in the market. He's a free agent. So, there's going to be a lot of bidding for him. Offensive linemen are hard to come by, and he's shown that he can play tackle. He couldn't play tackle, but now he can play guard. So I think you see the versatility that he will give a team, if it's not the Eagles, that sign him. I think Sweat, I know Sweat was probably one play away from being the MVP of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If Hurts does not hit the touchdown pass to Smitty. But, he played great, but he's got an injury. And that's always the thing that, worries people on the market when a player is coming off an injury.
Ron Jaworski with us here, no question about it. Jaws, you think Kenny Pickett gets dealt and they go Tanner McKay and it's a way to get another draft pick and you trust McKay? Is that in the cards, or do you say?
I think it's got a possibility, but I think Pickett has shown that he can play the game. And, a quarterback gets to show his talent when you have his outstanding offensive line and the receiving talent that the Eagles have. So I think Pickett earned an opportunity, but Tanner McKee certainly has played well every chance he's been given. So that's going to be a tough decision.
Jaws, in talking to your friends, and you have so many on the national level that played football and covered the NFL through the decades, do you get the impression that they are sort of like we are here locally in awe of what the Eagles just accomplished? Like we are considering the Eagles to be amongst some of the very best teams in the salary cap era. I don't know quite where they rank, but they're really high up there. Do you get that impression from your buddies around the lake?
Absolutely no doubt. There is so much respect for Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs that this blowout, beating them in the Super Bowl. I mean, it was just a butt kicking. People say what they want about Andy Reid's team, but he's got a great coaching staff. He's got a talented team, and the fact that at one point the score was 34-0, 34-0 at one point, just shows the incredible talent that this Eagle team has, and the way that they are playing together and unified. So, to me, that is stunning to a lot of people that I've been talking to.
Yeah, no question. And, Joe, one last thing, because it does tie it in the future, and I thought it was going to be gone a year or two ago. It hasn't been. Do you think the tush push stays? It's such a big advantage for the Eagles, and I thought it'd be gone, and they didn't, get it out as a league. Do you think it stays, or does the Eagles' success work against keeping it?
Yeah, I thought it was going to go 2 years ago. Basically on what I have read and understood, when the league does their evaluations at the end of the season, they base it on the safety of the game, and there are a lot of injuries in the tush push. Now, it doesn't always become aware to the people that watching the game on TV when they do their evaluation after breaking tape down that it's a dangerous play. So I thought it would be eliminated, but I think the competition committee felt it was still part of the game of football, an important part of the game of football, and they kept it in. But it's not about the success or lack of success. It's about the injury factor. Wow,
that's interesting. All right. Well, listen, Jaws, let me thank you. I'm honestly not ready to wrap the season up, but I know it's
I'm not either. Let's go.
Hey, next Tuesday. No, listen, Jaws, we're going to, we really haven't even had all the meetings with our boss yet to figure out how we can figure our lineup for the coming weeks. Just know this. I'm going to want to try to get you on as often as is reasonably possible, and obviously free agency and the draft are in the next couple weeks, but just know this as I guess we kind of wrap the regular season the season up. Thank you.
When there's news, call me, Joe.
Jaws, you're the best. You are the best. Thank you, Jaws.
Thank you, Jaws.